My name's Richard Hale, and I'm delighted to be supporting Bright Horizons Family Solutions with your action learning strategy. This is very much part of your Learning and Leading with Heart initiative and follows on from a lot of the thinking and groundwork that has previously been done in working through really what does leadership mean and what does it need to be at Bright Horizons. Key skills of leaders, I believe, are those of asking effective questions of oneself and of each other, to be challenging, continually seeking improvement and seeking to learn from other people, from other organisations, and looking for opportunities to continuously change and improve things. Professor Reg Revans pursued his early career as a research scientist, a physicist, working with some of the leading minds of his time at the Cavendish laboratories in Cambridge. One of the significant views that he developed through this experience was that those people who were often defined by others as leading experts would actually achieve some of their most significant breakthroughs in terms of their thinking by not necessarily seeking to demonstrate that they were more clever than their colleagues, but actually recognizing that they were united in their ignorance. Revans moved into the coal industry after World War II. At the time, it was the largest organisation in the world, employing 1 million men. And his role was to establish an education policy for the coal board as it was to become. And importing some of his thinking about action learning from his days as a scientist, he was able to introduce the concept of action learning. So it was impossible at the time to send all managers and leaders off to business school in order to study leadership. And in fact, much more was to be achieved by encouraging them to meet together in small groups or action learning sets, typically between 5 and 8 people, who would meet on a regular basis and would share with each other the problems that they were facing. These might have been to do with improving efficiencies, using new technologies, etc. And by encouraging them to, again, ask good questions of each other and to then go away and take action and to try out new approaches, to conduct some research, they were then able to come together again and share their learning and ultimately to make some significant breakthroughs and achieve efficiencies and improvements at an organisational level. This all sounds very simple in many senses, bring people together and encourage them to work together on problem solving. But often it's been found to be countercultural to how an organisation is structured and how the culture works in practice. In fact, Revans made an interesting observation about the hospitals that he worked with. Communications-wise, he said this is a system, an organisational system. And when he originally was working with the hospitals, he said this is about the downward communication of certainty. That was the culture of the hospital environment. Whereas he recognised that a lot of the breakthroughs in terms of action learning and problem solving in an action learning way would come not from the downward communication of certainty, but from the upward communication of doubt. And this is an interesting concept because it suggests that people at the more junior levels of the organisation, or indeed at the customer or client facing level, are likely to be able to generate significant insights and communicate those upwards in order to bring about significant organisational change. So how does this all work in the context of Bright Horizons? So the action learning strategy involves at a senior level executive sponsorship with the formation of a steering group. This steering group is there in order to guide the process of action learning and to ensure that the questions that people are tackling through the action learning sets that they're involved with are relevant to the current and future strategy and vision. At the next level, the action learning facilitators are developed with the capability of mobilising and facilitating action learning, and they're also trained to facilitate the development of others at the regional and operational levels within nurseries. So Reg Evans differentiated between puzzles and problems, and we recognise that action learning lends itself particularly to dealing with problems more than puzzles. A puzzle, first of all, tends to be something where there is a known solution, a known way or procedure or process in order to solve the puzzle. It might be, for instance, how to register a new child in a nursery. There is a known way of doing this. A problem, on the other hand, tends to be more messy, more difficult to define. It actually involves not just the technical challenge. There may be organisational challenges, there may be political challenges associated with addressing a problem in action learning terms. So, for instance, this could include subjects like how do we recruit more effectively for a nursery. It could be how do we anticipate the future requirements of the regulator and ensure that we're able to meet those future requirements. These are problems or challenges that are turned into an action learning question and then addressed by members of an action learning set. So in order to address such problems, this involves meeting together with other participants. These are people who are involved because they want to be involved, not just because they've been asked. That's a fundamental principle in terms of action learning. And through meeting over a period of time, this might be 3 months, 6 months, could be more. But effectively, they are researching initially the particular question, and this may involve going beyond Bright Horizons to other organisations. It might involve doing some desk-based research, some reading, and they will be asking quite specific questions about how things are done currently and how things might be done more effectively. Through this process, over time, of course, individuals will learn and they will achieve potentially tremendous personal development. But of course, the other part of the action learning process is ensuring that the organisation learns as well. And in many ways, if we were to look at all of the learning that's occurring with all of the learning set activities, ultimately what you're doing is creating very much a true learning organisation, an organisation that is learning from its own experience and from the accumulated learning of the people within it, and it's learning to actually stay ahead of the change curve, to actually anticipate the future and identify how to put itself in a good place in terms of coping with the challenges of uncertainty. So I think if you're considering how will you become involved and what your role will be with the action learning strategy for Bright Horizons, I would encourage you very much to talk to other people who've been through, for instance, the Action Learning Facilitator accreditation, talk to other action learning set advisors, and find out what their experience has been. And also, when in your own role you're identifying things that could be done more effectively, rather than maybe hoping that somebody may eventually think in the same way as you, why not actually take these challenges or these ideas forward to action learning sets, maybe even form a set based around the opportunity or the challenge that you identify, and use the system that now exists in order to have your own say and demonstrate your own leadership capability through your involvement in the action learning strategy. Good luck.